जो पाकिस्तान है आज इस प्रोग्राम में
So this is a special episode, a one-off with a very special guest. We've flown all the way to Pakistan to make this one happen. So it's a land of magic, and we're going to speak to a very magical guest right today. Without any more delays, I want him to introduce himself. You all already know him, but just for formalities.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, hi, hope you're well. My name is Amir Khan. So a world champion boxer, Olympian, and someone that loves doing charity work and, you know, just love keeping busy. I'm a family man now as well. So, and now we are in Pakistan, as you mentioned. We're doing a boxing show here, which is for the first time we've started doing boxing events in Pakistan because it's quite new in Pakistan. Boxing is, and there's a lot of talent here. They've all wanted to fight, but they don't have the opportunity to, or they don't have the infrastructure, or they don't have anyone to support them. So I flew to the UK just to come here, just like you guys have, so to help and spend my own money to promote boxing here.
So why did you pick Pakistan out of all places?
Obviously, it's motherland, isn't it? My parents are born in Pakistan. I've got that connection with Pakistan, so that's the reason. I could have, picked another nation. I mean, I've done a lot in the UK, in America, but I thought Pakistan because it's close to my heart. It has to be done.
And you mentioned about talent. What is your process of finding talent? Do you go out yourself? Do you have scouts on the ground?
Correct. So we did like a scouting event one time, where this was about 2 years ago, where we had in total 1,000 boxers entered. We had them sparring each other. We had them training with each other, and we pushed them right to the limits. It was literally like having a fight, and that's what we did. Just to see the talent of Pakistan, and that's when I thought, wow, like to have 1,000 people turn up. And it was like 100 in one event, 100 in another city, 100 in a different city. So we did about 6, 7 different cities, but we had hundreds of fighters come in there. And like I said, we must have hit the number of 1,000 fighters that we had on a sheet of paper. That's when I was thinking of doing the boxing league. And obviously, since then, we thought, instead of jumping into a league, because we know that the talent is massive here and they all want to do boxing, why don't we start doing some professional boxing shows first and then move into doing a league? You see, it's like the cricket league that we see now, the PSL. The PSL and the Indian League, which is IPL, they didn't happen out of the blue. They have to do normal events first, like normal cricket matches, like what we do now, normal boxing matches, get the crowd to understand what boxing is all about and get the sponsors in, and then later on do a league, and that's what we're going to do.
And obviously you've got a new position with WBC. Just tell us about what that position entails and what your aims are in the short term and long run.
So I've just become the WBC Middle East and Pakistan president. So I control the whole area when it comes to boxing, and when it comes to even the WBC cares, I'm going to join them and partner them with Amir Khan Foundation, because Amir Khan Foundation is already doing work here. So WBC is an organization that is going to be taking fighters from the grassroots level to making them champions, having the amateurs out there, getting them into championships and giving them, awarding them with the WBC titles. And as professionals, whenever there's a big professional event, it's my team that will then look after it in this Middle East area and also Pakistan area. Like today, on Saturday, We got the first ever boxing event in Lahore that's happening. That's again WBC. That's Amir Khan promotion. That's also WBC cares. And what we're doing there is we are having the first Middle East boxing title on the line, which is going to be our fighter, very own fighter, which is Nadir Baloch. So, we have the power now to go out there and promote boxing in places and countries like Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Pakistan, India. So that's what we want to do. And I think it needed someone like myself to come out there and do it, because there's always been talk about, boxing is going to be promoted here, but nothing used to happen. Now I'm coming into these places and spending my own money to make sure it's going to happen, When I put my word to something, I make sure it's going to happen properly. So that's what it's all about.
That's brilliant. So, looking at this event coming up in Lahore now, who's the main fighter? Nadir Baloch?
No, the main fighter is Mohammed Wasim.
Mohammed Wasim.
Yeah, correct.
So tell us about both of them.
Yeah, so Mohammed Wasim obviously is from Quetta, Balochistan, a very good fighter, was national champion for his country in the Commonwealth Games. He made it to Olympics, obviously didn't win a medal, but still to make it to that high level, it's amazing. He's fought and won the WBC silver title. He's fought and won other international titles, but now he's working towards winning that world title. He could be Pakistan's first world champion coming out of Pakistan. And I'm helping him and promoting him for this fight. He's fighting this weekend against a kid from Philippines, and the Philippines fighter is very durable. He's going to come to fight, and obviously for him, the Filipino fighter, to say, I'll come to Pakistan and fight him. That's no joke. He must be confident, because when a fighter goes to someone else's backyard and he's not scared, that's
very dangerous.
He is very dangerous. Then you've got Nadir Baloch, who's from all the way from Karachi. There's an area called Lahore where all great champions of fighters come from. Lahore is a very tough place where they've created football players, boxers, fighters. And he is now in boxing with us. It's his second fight in Pakistan. He's been fighting under the Amir Khan Promotions banner for a long time. Very good fighter. His fight is against an Afghanistan fighter. Now, his is a 50-50 fight as well, where I decided to put the WBC belt on his fight, because it's two nations that we look after. But it'll be such an exciting fight. You see, with Mohammed Wasim, he's going for the world title honors. I think below the world title honors comes the WBC Middle East. And this is where Nadir Baloch is at. At the moment, we can't put Nadir Baloch in a world championship fight. He needs to experience, whereas Wasim has that experience to fight for that world title. That's the reason he's not fighting for the Middle East title. But look, there's a lot of talent here in Pakistan. And by doing shows like this, it's only going to promote more fighters coming at the grassroots. And we will see champions coming out of this country.
So do you find you have a lot of competition with other sports? Like, for example, Pakistan's known for cricket. Obviously, the president has a cricketing background. How do you bring that influence in?
Yeah. So it is difficult, because we are up against everyone, because for some reason, they think boxing is a violent sport. We don't really get the following and the support from the government. We do and we don't. It's funny how it works, because at times, like the governor of Punjab has given us his house. He goes, put the event here in my house. But then you got the PM, doesn't really do him that much. But I see him face to face, and he's like, you're doing a great job with Pakistan, boxing, promoting Pakistan. But when it comes to helping and supporting, it's very little. So that's when I decided I'm going to do it myself. There's no point waiting, because that's what I did for the last 4 years before that. So I thought, now, if I'm going to move on, I have to come and do it myself. There's no point me waiting around. And if you're going to achieve something in life, and this is a little bit of advice to the people who are going to be watching, is that anything in life that you want to do, you have to go and do it. Don't wait for people. Just go and do it, and do it as far as you can go. Because otherwise, it's always going to be in your mind that I could have done it. I could have done this. I could have done that.
I'm going to ask you something a little bit different now. If you was in my seat now, what question would you ask yourself?
See, I always get asked the normal questions, like, when did you start fighting? What got you into boxing? But look, you can ask about the charity work that we do. So we've been doing a lot of charity work in Pakistan, Africa. England as well. So Amir Foundation doesn't mean you only have to work in Pakistan or Muslim countries. No, we work outside the box. We work in Africa. We work in England. The first charity organization and the foundation event that we did was in England. And it's the British public that are supporting the Amir Khan Foundation. So, that's where charity starts. Charity starts at home. So we help building schools or supporting schools. When the flood happened in Carlisle, we went there with the team. Christmas, going to hospitals, giving kids Christmas presents. The less fortunate people, when the pandemic happened especially, we had around about 25,000 families who were fed by Amir Khan Foundation. Now, these are things that are close to my heart.
Amazing.
These are things that are close to my heart, and God's given me the gift and given me the strength to do this, and the contacts to get things like this done. I mean, to have someone like Poundland on board, it was one message on LinkedIn to Poundland. They said, yes, we'd love to help you. Boom, next thing, Poundland are supporting us like crazy. Big truck came to the gym. Because we had that much aid coming from public and companies and businesses, I didn't know what to do with it. I couldn't have it in my house. So what I did was I opened my gym up, closed the gym down for boxes, but had it just for
like facility
to give food out to people.
Brilliant, that is.
So alhamdulillah, this is what boxing has done for me. It's about utilizing it the right way, and alhamdulillah, we've made sure that we've done it the right way and used the name in the right possible way.
See, for me, I've watched you from obviously time when you was in the Olympics, a young man, blasting talent, and I followed your journey all the way to recent times, and I've seen that maturity and that growth. What advice do you give to young people today to follow suit and to reach their aims and their targets in life?
There's a lot of young fighters coming up now, like the likes of Hamza Shiraz. You've got Kez Ashfaq. You've got so many great fighters coming up now, and I think it takes focus and it takes determination and respect as well. Some fighters might just feel that they've already won a world title before they even win one, and their social media, they're overhyped, and I never did that. If you look at my early days, I was a chill guy. The only time I bought myself a present was when I won my first world title, and I bought myself a watch, a diamond one. It was a bit crazy, bit like this one, and
bit of bling there,
bling. But I achieved it, and I always put things in my mind to say that if I win 5 fights in a row, if I win 2 fights in a row, if I win a world title, I treat myself with this. I can go out early and buy it. Alhamdulillah, I was when I started boxing, even before throwing my first punch as a professional, alhamdulillah, I was a millionaire. Like, the deal I signed for boxing was unheard of.
Quite lucrative, yeah.
Yeah, it was like one of the biggest boxing signed deals, like $2 million. It was just to sign a dotted line to say I'm turning professional. And then the fights come on after that. So you can't let that get to your head. I never let that get to me. So nowadays, these fighters who are starting up, social media has got to them so hard, where they think they're already superstars before they are superstars. And I think they just need to kind of tape down a little bit. And there's some great fighters out there, like great talent. Like you got, like I mentioned, Hamza Shiraz, you got Kez, you got so many great fighters out there who are coming up. Inshallah, if they keep the head straight and they keep focused, they will be the next Amir Khan. They will, inshallah, make a big name.
Okay, something different from a promotion point of view. Do you identify good coaches, and how do you do it?
Yeah, to identify a good coach, first of all, you have to look at his track record. Now, if a coach you want to get with, he's had 4 fighters and all 4 have just been getting beat, you're going to be like, oh, I don't want to go there, you know what I mean? If you want to go with a coach who is going to give you confidence as well. For example, like when I went to Freddie Roach, I saw his track record. Wow, he trained Mike Tyson, he trained Manny Pacquiao, he trained all the top fighters, even Klitschko brothers, one of the Klitschko brothers, I think it was Vladimir he trained. So I was like, wow, look at the guys he's trained. He's made a win. So he's used to having that media on his case. Some trainers I've trained with before, they've not had a big name. And when the media hit them, like the hype, they kind of panicked and they kind of loved it too much that they forgot about the training side. So you can never be like, you have to get with someone who's already at that level, who's then going to be used to all that. And he's going to take it like a pinch of salt. He's going to be like, okay, forget the media. He's not going to be interested in that. So that's my advice to these young fighters. Get with someone, look at their track record, a coach, look at his track record, look at who he's trained, who he's been with, what type of style he has. Does it suit your style? Does it not suit your style? Like, look at the way his fighters are, who his fighters are. Now, if he's got fighters, if you've got a boxer, that matters, he's looking for a trainer. He's not going to go with a coach that trains guys coming forward like a Mike Tyson style, knocking people out. He wants to do that. So style makes a big difference as well. I'm sure, like, as soon as you see one coach and as soon as you work with him, and that's another bit of advice as well. Before you pick a coach, do a training session with them. There's no harm in doing one training session with them just to see how you feel, to see how much you learn, and then pick it.
Okay, let's go on to your actual training. Who's the toughest or the best sparring partner you've ever had?
Obviously, hands down, it has to be Manny Pacquiao, one of the best sparring partners I've ever had. But I've had some great sparring partners out there, honestly. We've had some wars in the gym, even guys with not big names, guys who don't really get that chance, but they are very powerful and very dangerous. Fighters like that, man. I mean, I've had some amazing experiences, man. Sparring in America was like something else. Every guy that would walk in the gym wants to prove a point. Now, if you walk into a gym in America, you want to say, look, I'm the next big thing. And I was already a name then. And I was already world champion as well. I used to have guys coming from like Mexico, Colombia, coming into the gym and want to spar me and literally try knocking my head off. Then obviously I had to put it on them to show who's boss. Now, the way I got my respect in America first before even fighting there was from sparring the likes of Manny Pacquiao and then sparring these other tough fighters and doing a job on them. And that's when people thought, wait a minute, this kid's not bad, man. He's all right. He's come from all the way from England. We thought we could bully him around, but no, this kid's standing his ground and he's putting it on all the Americans and all the Colombians, all the fighters. And that's what I had to do. To earn my respect, I had to then put it on these people and give them a beating in sparring. And whereas these guys, and at the sparring session I used to have there, I used to have these Russian kids coming and I used to hit them so hard. And I mean, they just, like nothing happened to them. And they walk through it and I'm like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? But look, experience-wise, it's the best ever experience I've ever had. Like, it was hard, don't get me wrong. I was sweating buckets, but it was amazing. I remember a time in Freddie Roach's gym. So I've done one round with one kid. I had a war with him. I think it was like Benavidez. And then, next thing, I'm in the ring and then he puts another guy in who's heavier, who's another war fighter, who comes forward and wants a war. Then third guy comes in. I'm thinking, wow, where does he find these guys? There's no rest. Put them in one by one. Or either 2 rounds by 2 rounds, you put them in. So they come in fresh, which then makes you think, oh, this is what I need because I need fresh fighters all the time who are not tired. It's going to push me and get the best out of me as well.
Okay, so, obviously in life, everybody has the ups and downs. What's the most important bit of learning you've done across your journey?
Staying focused and keeping your feet on the ground because God can give it to you and he can take it away from you straight away. You could be a champion, you could be a respected person. After one fight, it can all go. Don't take it for granted because when you take things for granted, it'll hurt you more when it disappears, when it goes. So I've always kept my feet on the ground and, you have to have in your mind as well, I might win, I might even lose some fights, but that can never put you down and you have to keep on training hard. See, some fighters like Nassim Hamed, for example, lost one fight, could not face anyone and he retired. Like he had to call it a day. Whereas with me, I've lost fights, I've come back stronger from them, So that's one bit of advice there. It's no one wants to ever lose.
Don't take for granted.
Don't take anything for granted, but no one ever wants to lose, no one ever wants to. But if you start taking things for granted, them losses can happen, And when they do happen, you have to be prepared for it. Don't just forget about it or think, I'm going to retire now. You have to be ready for it. And by being ready for it is to go back in that gym and give it 100%, 110% really. You have to keep it, you have to train even harder because you never want to see that day again.
Obviously, you're a family man now. How important is family and how does it make you focus day to day?
Family is very important. Having kids, my kids, everything I'm doing is for them. Even all this, now I could be sat at home doing nothing, but I'm doing this for them, I want them to, have to see their dad as a hero, I want them to see me as a hero. When they grow up, they say, my dad was our hero, this, that, another, Everything I'm doing in my life, I could be sat at home, man. There's a lot of people out there who don't have who don't have the name that I have because they don't go out there, they don't go out their way. They don't want to put in their work or effort. With me, I'm a hardworking guy, man. Look, I've come to Pakistan, putting a boxing show on. I've done everything from A to Z. I'd have to do this. It is very stressful at the same time, but still, I'm doing it. You know, what makes Oscar De La Hoya different is because he works hard. He's not only in the ring, but outside the ring as well. So you have to respect that. I'm the same way. You know, I like to work as hard as I do in the ring, but outside the ring as well. So, you know, this is what it's all about. And this is a little bit of advice to the younger fighters coming up. You know, keep working hard in life. You know, you don't only want to win world titles. You want to do beyond that. You want to go on to create a legacy, creating other fighters' careers. And that's what I want to do now.
Let's move forward to a time when you might retire. You might not retire, but let's say you retire. What does Amir Khan do when he's retired?
I mean, then it's looking for the next generation of fighters, really, and helping them, giving them my bit of experience, giving them a bit of a push, supporting them, promoting boxing in countries like Pakistan, Africa. So that's what I want to do, really. I mean, you know, wouldn't want to take any more punches. I mean, you know, I've had a lot of fights, man, 39 fights, but I still want to have maybe one more dance at it. One or two at least.
You want to call somebody out or?
You know what? I'm not. I mean, look, I think a Kell Brook fight, I think I'll give him a good smashing. I mean,
I personally think that it should be Danny Garcia.
I'd love
you're winning that fight.
They won't give me that fight, bro. I tried so hard. Now, I remember when I tried, it was a couple of fights after he beat me the first time. I tried to get that fight and said, nah.
Because they knew they were losing that fight.
I was not even mentally right in that fight. I went in there, listened to his dad's rubbish, thinking that, look, I'm going to go in there and just knock this guy out. But no, it never happened that way. Look, Danny Garcia is a great fighter. He's a respected fighter. But yeah, I mean, I'd love a fight with him. I think it'd be an amazing fight. You know, he's up there in the top 10 fighters. I'm up there as one of the top 10 fighters in the world. So I think he can still make a good fight, man. Yeah. This time I'll make sure I don't let his dad get to me. And I'm a little bit wiser. I'm a little bit older now where I know exactly how to handle things as well.
So right now, in current boxers, who's your pound for pound number one?
Pound for pound number one, I think Canelo. I think he's a beast, man. Honestly, like, what that guy's done in boxing is phenomenal, really. I mean, one of the best fighters out there. The way, even though I spent the ring with him, but he's just an amazing fighter, man. I mean, look what he did to Kovalev. Now he's fighting this weekend against Smith. And Smith trains at my gym as well, so I wish Smith all the very best. But Canelo is just something else, man. And also Crawford. You know what I mean? Crawford as well, like, looks untouchable. He said these are two fighters. So no one can ever say, I fought the best, not only the best world champion, but the best pound for pound fighters I fought. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's going to be very hard to see. I mean, which other fighter out there has done that, you know, in boxing, not only in the Muslim community, but outside it, in any
Environment,
really.
Any sport, really, as well.
In any sport where they fought two pound for pound fighters. You know what I mean? Which not many fighters have done.
And you did
you
it
never
quite
get
young.
to that level.
Yeah.
You never get to that level, two fighter, pound for pound fighter. But I fought two, going up weights and also fighting one in my weight. So yeah, man, it was a good experience, man.
You know, obviously, I'm an amateur boxing coach myself.
Yeah.
So, how important is amateurs for?
Amateurs are very important. Honestly, that's where you learn your trade. That's where you learn all the tricks. You have to definitely do the amateurs first. As soon as you start winning some championships, that gives you confidence. That makes you a better fighter as well. Honestly, it gives you focus. And then you just, you just kind of go from there with the confidence from the amateurs, get that experience and go on to the pros then after that, yeah.
So on our podcast, we always get the guests to wrap up. So can you give us the last few words of wisdom? That's your camera.
My last words of wisdom is, guys, work hard in life. Anything you want to achieve in life, you have to work hard towards it. Look, you know, when you work hard, God sees you work hard and he gives it to you. He helps you to achieve what you want to achieve. And, you know, never stop training. Keep training hard. Keep focused. You win, you lose, but you just come back stronger. You know, losing is not a bad thing. But losing for me, when I lost 5 fights in my career, probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me because it's brought the best out of me. Made me go back to the drawing board and see where I made the mistakes. But guys, it's all about just staying focused and keep working hard and don't let all the social media get to your head. It looks good. Yeah, you want to show your friends and stuff, but stay focused and thank God for everything.